Hey, it's Monday, the 28th of June 2021, and Yellow Warrior has started with an initiation of fire. Can you feel it? It's going to be a very stormy 13-day process because the day for the structure of this wave spell is blue self-existing storm. And the astrology this week is super powerful to see whether we are in the eye of the storm, whether we're in our emotional center, and what's still taking us out. So we begin this on cosmic moon day 2, so we're in the 13th moon. What's seeking to shift for you? How is the goddess shifting you around how you are being empowered and how you are being the beacon of light and truth at this time of revelation? And it really is. And it's getting bigger, the revelations. So I think many people have tried to be diplomatic, have tried to be holding back in some way. I certainly have tried to be very calm, diplomatic, and yet last night, on the last day of Blue Cosmic Eagle, I just felt a huge power coming through me. And as a Leo, of course, Mars in Leo, Venus in Leo energy now, building up to Leo coming, and the new Mayan year coming as well. This is really powerful time. There's a lot to share in this video, and so I'm going to start with the energy as always today. So we kick off this heart warrior cycle with the sun in Cancer, bringing us all our emotions, the house of the moon, every 2.5 days, getting a shift. And if our energy is flowing, if our emotions are flowing, then we become a different person through each phase of the moon. Today we are in Waning Moon, and this whole cycle will be in Waning Moon until we reach the end of it. At the very tail end, we've got the new moon in Cancer. And so letting go, that's what this is all about. Surrendering to the heart path, surrendering to what's really pushing our buttons now, and being powerful around our heart sharing, coming from a place of courage, having the courage of our convictions to speak from that place of passion is really key. So without further ado, let's have a look at the moon energy today. And we're in the afternoon here in the UK. I've been writing lots of articles, doing lots of focus on facts today around key issues coming up at the moment around health and wealth, sovereignty. Great time to do due diligence. So we've got Aquarius moon at 27 degrees. Add those together, that's number 9, gateway energy. And just to read you inside degrees, so let's bring that up. A man laying stones for a path. If vision and practical skills are brought into a place beyond either one, new worlds can come into being. Tenacity is the key. You have to see the pattern, inscribe a pattern and let it set collectively. For when you are out ahead of everybody else, you must master the craft of timing in this earth. Everything is perfect in the right time and place, and awful when out of sync. Contained within yourself is a blueprint for the future. You need to season and temper the extraordinary forefront awareness with life experience and discover the intricacies of the cultural landscape, a mission pursued, a task taken on with a vengeance, a destiny that stands out and speaks volumes. Knowing where Aquarius is in your chart is very useful at this time because there's a lot of things happening with Aquarius, bigger picture, and Saturn in Aquarius being retrograde, going back over old ground. Let's have a look at the chart. Okay, so we are down here and we're in the yellow 13-day process of the yellow castle. Tomorrow, as you can see, we've got a portal day there, and that's red lunar earth. Red earth is a 52-day cycle that we're in now, that we are completing now. So if you think back to when this cycle began, what new learning was it bringing for you? What was coming to light? Because the planet for red earth is Uranus. We've got Uranus in Taurus at the moment, and we have got the square happening 3 times this year of Saturn squares Uranus. So what's our responsibility around what we value, what we love? Big issues coming up around that. Red Earth began on the 20th of May, and the 13-day process for that ran till the 1st of June. Red Earth is about our root chakra, it's about our ancestral tribes, it's about where we've been on planet Earth and how we are working with this energy today with our ancestral DNA and our patterns. And of course, Yellow Warrior, being the warrior of light, is about understanding our personal Saturnian code. So where Saturn is in your chart, what house it is, what degree it is, whether you're having a Saturn return or not, if you're working up to a Saturn return, all of those are useful, bigger picture perspectives. And the previous wave spell that we've just completed is Blue Night, which is twinned with Yellow Warrior. So Blue Night also has Saturn as the planet and reveals Saturnian patterns. For the warrior of light who is walking the heart path, this is essential to know. Knowing our pattern, knowing our code, knowing how we have key challenges on our path to meet as a warrior. Good stuff. Because the more that we are consciously aware of these patterns and codes, the more that we can really start to work with them with this conscious awareness. Of course, we'll be having experiences anyway, whether we know this stuff or not, and we simply take it to a whole different level if we have conscious awareness and start working with this on a deep level. So I've been doing this now for 10 years in this particular way, and it blows me away how the patterns for me, for my family, I'm becoming clearer and clearer about what my challenges are. I've developed a process now of 52-day process because of working with the calendar and the cosmology for 10 years. I'm in my 10th year, and yeah, just everything that I receive intuitively every day blows me away as well. And once you start to really work on this level with this focused intent, then life becomes very different. So you start to perceive things in a different way because you have that awareness. When we don't have that awareness, often we simply do not see things. They are not there in our everyday to-day life. So this is key to magic. This is key to alchemy as well. So today, one of my favourite authors. So I'm going to be working with my private group, which is Red Dragon 52. Every day I'm going to be sharing one of these little anecdotes and just picking it randomly. And again, my intention with doing this is to help people to learn how to navigate these paths now, because we're at a crossroads in the evolution of humanity. And so we're experiencing very stormy times. The timelines are changing, and people are choosing their tribe. They're choosing which way their path is going to go. So, key to all magical transformation is know thyself, know thy code, know thy patterns, know what the challenges are. The more you know about this, the more you will get into your center. And through knowing yourself, through connecting, and most importantly, healing this old code, this old pattern, you will be free of the collective mindset, which is largely operating from fear right now, because they don't know themselves, they don't have any roots, they aren't doing their due diligence, and they aren't in their power and sovereignty. That's what this trip is about at this time, is coming into our sovereignty. So today's random choice: the warrior remembers the past. The warrior remembers the past. He knows about man's spiritual quest. He knows that this quest has been responsible for some of history's finest pages, but also some of history's worst chapters: massacres, sacrifices, obscurantism. It was used for personal ends and has seen its ideas used to defend the most terrible of intentions. The warrior has heard people ask, how am I to know that the path I am on is the right path? And he has seen many people abandon their quest because they could not answer that question. The warrior has no doubts. He follows one infallible saying, by their fruits ye shall know them, says Jesus. That is the rule he follows, and he never goes wrong. We're now at a stage where people are going beyond talking the talk, they're walking the walk. This is what Uranus in Taurus is all about. And by their fruits ye shall know them. In a modern general overview, when we do our research, when we look for evidence of people's behaviour, whether they're trustworthy, whether they have integrity, whether their company history stands up to scrutiny, whether their family tree does, what ancestral patterns are they holding as an individual? Can they demonstrate trust? Have they been prosecuted in the past, and for what reason? All of these avenues shed light on actual behaviour rather than the spoken word, on broken promises, for example. When we see evidence that a corporate, for example, has broken people's trust repeatedly, why do we think it is good for us to trust them now? Again, it's the same in relationship with people that we're in on a personal level. Over a period of time, how has that person's behavior been to us? Do they treat us respectfully? Do they treat us lovingly? Do they honor us? Do we honor ourselves by being in continued relationship with them? Remember, we are the center of the holograph. For us, as we change, the holograph changes and the world changes because of that. So the key focus for being a warrior of light is I. I am responsible for my world and everything in it on some level. Without getting distracted around sacrificing oneself, which is a common value for women especially, it's time to focus on nurturing and loving ourselves and embodying the goddess, being the goddess, being the powerful, authentic archetype of truth. And a lot of the time, we can struggle with that, not even knowing what that is. Is that not true? It's certainly been true for me. I've got lost many a time and done things that I thought I had to in order to survive, especially around working for corporations. And over a long period of time, I have seen how that behaviour has expanded in terms of corporate and how none of that is good at all. So we need a massive paradigm shift now with the patriarchy crumbling. We've got some great questions there around how do we create something new that's free from corruption, that's free from fear, that is going to take us into a whole different way of living as human beings. Answers on a postcard. I don't know what they are. I do know that each one of us, though, has the answers and will be taking our own particular pathway of finding these answers. So it's not a quick fix. It's painful right now. We're going through the birthing process and it's extremely challenging around untruth right now. So, great card for today is Kali, fearlessness. Give me the strength to look my faults in the eye and to allow you to strike my fear with a dagger of annihilation, so I may find my true self and reside in the comfort of your blessing. So, Kali energy is again really warrior energy, isn't it? So, it's great energy for this cycle, of course, as always. Where we are now, the yellow in the yellow, where we began the 13 moon, for example, back on the 26th of July, we're seeing what needs to shift around speaking our truth, being authentic, being the beacon of light, and our own behaviors, our own actions. How are we matching living free of fear? How are we moving towards a different space? How are we coming into our own personal center, our heart center, our emotional center, emotional intelligence, moving away from patterns that have hurt us historically, our family historically? How are we creating new learning around what needs to be faced with courage, with conviction, with integrity. Mayan cards, we've got Red Moon. So again, look at the moon because this energy is powerful. Cosmic moon means it's time to make that move. Make that shift within and outside shifts. The next cycle that we go into begins on the 11th of July. Sorry, is that right? I'm losing track of time. Yeah, it is the 11th of July. And so we go into the last chapter, the final chapter then. We are into the Green Castle. So in terms of Mayan cycles, sorry, my whole needs a bit of an overhaul. Okay, so we've got red, white, blue, yellow, and we each have those as human being. We have 13-year cycles: awakening, refining, transformation, manifestation. We don't have a green. This does. So instead of 4 cycles, we're going into the 5th dimension. And once we go into the green, we are seeing how clear we are of the old ancestral story, how we are having the fruits of our labours, how we are walking the talk, how we are living the life of our dreams as a conscious dreamer. So most of the dreams have been made unconsciously with a conditioned mindset, with a projection story of all our ancestors, so that we can come into being a master of that process. And then, using an alchemical process of inner healing, we start to release it. We change our behaviours. And this is fundamental, absolutely fundamental to living a very different life, getting off the labyrinth. So new learning is essential as well. And so we kick off the Green Castle with Red Moon. And I'm putting together a course right now for women because women are the focus of my journey. Women who I am helping to realise that they have stories running, they have programs running that are not in their best interest. They are not being their authentic, beautiful, shiny goddess selves because they have, for example, low self-esteem, they have low self-worth. This is endemic again with women in general around the repression of the feminine. This, of course, is coming back into balance now. So this is really key to understanding. We've been living out all of these old narratives, these old stories. More and more women are becoming aware of the fact that they have been intoxicated, let's put it that in some way, by narcissistic patterns, that they have been coerced, that they have been under some sort of spell almost around years of being ground down, not feeling able to express their true nature. So this program is going to be really focusing on how to let that go, how to come into full power and full authenticity, and how to really work with cosmic codes. So if you'd like to know more about that, please do get in touch with me. It will be a fully supported course with one-to-one videos and deep work. So it's not for everybody. It's for people women, it's designed for women who are ready to go to that deeper level and shift that old narrative so that they move literally into a different space. In terms of the Thoth card today, we have interference. And this is a card that I do get intermittently. And it's significant for the North Node in Gemini as well, because it is about mindset. North Node being in Gemini now. Mercury is still in Gemini, and that's going to continue throughout this wave spell. Again, it's until the 11th of July, I think, when it goes into Cancer. So again, by the time we go into the next castle, we're going to be feeling very different energy and having very different experiences with the experience of this warrior wave spell. I'm just going to share more information about this. So again, this is very key for me, and of course all the cards are very relevant for me because I'm the one picking the cards. And so this is my holograph. This is Jupiter in Gemini, and I have Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter at the moment is in Pisces on the planet. We're going over old ground to see if we've learned the spiritual lessons and we've changed our behavior. Another key aspect of this, which again is key to Gemini and mindset, is in order to change our behavior, in order to change our mindset, first of all, we have to work with the emotions underneath. This is the time of the emotional evolution, which is why it's so important that we start to become very aware about how our emotions underpin and influence everything, how to bring the unconscious into consciousness, and how to rewire our emotional mind and our mindset. And this is a very, very focused way of doing alchemy. Okay, so I'm going to put a link on here. So Jupiter in Gemini really is about mastering the mind and getting a focus. It's sort of like attention deficit disorder rather, that many people are experiencing now because of technologies that we're using, all sorts of distractions, all sorts of multi things going on at once. Again, key for women as well. And we believe that we can multitask, but the reality is we can only really focus and do one thing at once. We might have several things that we're cutting off, we're doing a pattern interrupt and we're going to do different things. But often this can be exhausting as well. So this is a great one with Eli. Again, he goes into so much depth. Too many choices causing indecision, much like a squirrel trying to cross a busy 4-lane highway, darting back and forth, trying to figure out the right direction to go. This usually ends up as roadkill. So this card reminds us to sideline ourselves from our busy thought and take a deep breath, center, and make a patient and insightful decision. One of the things that you might have noticed when you get triggered, and it's a big trigger. So for me, over the past couple of days, big triggers around what can I call it? Bullshit, I guess, really bullshit. This bullshit that's been going on for a long time now. I've experienced it many lifetimes. Yeah, that's true. That just pops out. Yes. And in this lifetime, I've experienced it in many different scenarios, many corporate frameworks, many goalpost changing things by individuals or companies that has really affected me, and in the past people that have worked for me as well. Basically corporate lies and corruption again. So the more that you work on triggers and the more that you don't get a power outage. So quite often when it's a big emotional event that you haven't cleared and you're getting a trigger back to it, it can feel exhausting. It can make it difficult to sleep, for example. And the more that, again, you know about what's coming up and why and the cycles, the more that you can really focus. So the Eight of Swords reminds us to stop, slow down and refocus. In the next 8 weeks or 8 months, you will either get the chance to slow down and refocus your thoughts, or you will come to an understanding of your own mental interference and refocus. Let go of your fear and thoughts will become focused and future decisions will become clearer. So don't make any decisions at this time. Just do more tapping. Tapping is amazing, and if you haven't checked it out yet, check out emofree.com. There's free resources on there. And if you want more information about this, please contact me on the contact form below for a chat, free consultation. And I do an ebook which will give you lots of info so you can check this out. Imagine if everybody on planet Earth was tapping every day on their stuff, what a different world we would live in. And that is one of my key dreams, is to share this with as many people as I can, because this is so liberating to have this tool, and it helps let go of any other coping mechanisms as well. So you can let go of addictions and anything that you need to use to take the edge off. You can use tapping to take the edge off instead, and it helps you uncover all your past trauma stories and release them. How wonderful is that? Okay, so this week I'm going to share this week's document with you. So for people who are working with me in a group setting and a one-to-one setting, then they get a ebook of every 13 days, which shows what's going on with the cosmology, the astrology, and most importantly, their astrology and cosmology, because that's key to know. So this is, again, co-creation of coming into balance. And so what's the universe doing that I'm an individual aspect of? We're all an embodiment of the divine. We've all come here to play our role, play our parts at this transformational time of human evolution. So we begin today with Yellow Warrior, being the warrior of light. Cosmic day 2, new learning coming in about what needs to shift, what you're triggered about, what you're passionate about, what's pushing your buttons. What does this remind you of in the past? For me personally, my code is back to 1970. This 13-year period for me is when I was 5 years old, and when I just started school at 4, so I was into my first year. And I'm currently in a 13-year cycle of Blue Hand. On my birthday in August, I will go into a cosmic year of this, Blue Cosmic Hand. So again, I'm getting ready to make a big shift on shaping my destiny. That's coming up. And so every time I'm working with this yellow cycle, it's for me personally, it's about understanding what happened in the past, what's made me who I am, my mindset through events, how I've inherited cultural perspectives, how I've taken on certain things, and how I'm living out literally past timelines of my family. Once you start to really get into this, it is mind-blowing. You see how you're doing your ancestors' path very specifically. So also, it's being mindful that each day we're doing something that's leading us a step closer to our future. So everything that we do, it's like this little microcosm that we're working with, this little bubble. Okay, so what you've done up today so far, how is that going to ripple out into your future timeline? How is that taking you towards a different destiny that maybe you hadn't thought of before all of this lockdown stuff started? How have you been surprised? What magic has shown up for you? What have you become really aware of about yourself, most importantly? So going through the days, tomorrow we have Red Lunar Earth, which I've already talked about. That's a portal day. And so that's Akashic record. So an interesting day to tune in and see what grounds you, what ungrounds you, what's coming to light. On Wednesday, we have White Electric Mirror, which was the 11th of April till the 23rd of April. So again, you can use this in a very practical way. And believe me, if you want to be a disciplined, conscious dreamer, weaver, you want to be a woman who is constantly shaping her destiny, you do need to work at this level of detail. On Thursday, this is when the fun begins, because we have blue self-existing storm. So day 4 is always the structure, the foundation. It refers to the 4th house in the chart. If you have a natal chart, look for number 4, the 4th segment of the cake, I call it, and it's in the bottom of the chart. Okay, so you can have a look there and you can see what's in your 4th house. This is a place that is absolutely the pivotal foundation. In terms of how that ties in with the Mayan calendar, it's the 4th Mayan sign, which is yellow seed. And we're going into a yellow seed year on the 26th of July. In terms of red earth, this is also connected to the 4th house because it's what's coming to light about your childhood. It's what's coming to light about where all your patterns were formed, For example, in England, like I said, going to school at age 4. Who were your caretakers? Who influenced you? What patterns were formed then that support you? Expand those. What patterns are there that wounded you? Heal those, let go of those, and be very focused on stopping any narcissistic relationship, any toxic relationship, any out of balance power play relationship with a person, with a place of work, for example, with a substance, with an environment, in terms of going somewhere just because somebody else goes there, that you don't really feel attuned to that. All of this is key for gut instinct and stopping doing the old patriarchal self-sacrifice and ruination, basically the ruin of the human being because they are allowing themselves to be sacrificed in some way through their own mindset. So blue self-existing storm. Blue storm is Heyoka energy, which is truth-telling. Again, if you Google that, look it up. This is connected to Native American people and amazing myths around that. And each culture has their own format of this. So you could say it's a clown, the court jester. It's somebody who may be a comedian, who is sarcastic, who manages to speak truth in a way that people can hear it because it's sort of not referenced in that way. The more we come into our power and our center, we realize that we will often get shot as the messenger by people who are in denial, who don't want to hear what we have to say. And we can say it anyway if we choose. Going back to the 3rd of March, the 15th of March, and a year into lockdown in the UK, this is going to be the start of some big astrological energy this week. The planet for Blue Storm is Pluto. So Pluto, again, is in Capricorn at the moment, and we're seeing all these old patriarchal structures coming down, these hell stories, these myths. So again, if you look up Demeter and Persephone, these are really key. On Friday, we have yellow overtone sun. And so again, we're at the bottom here of the 20-day cycle. So the 20-day cycle begins at the top in Red Dragon and takes us through. So it's what the Great Mother is bringing us and how much light are we holding by the end of it. Again, planet Pluto. And so this really is mastery of the shadow story. Are you becoming a master of it yet? How to work with everything that seems to be the problem that is a trigger is showing you the old storyline, showing you the old narrative, showing you that there's something still in there to be cleared. There's some new learning, there's something to be healed, there's something to be released. And then on the back of that, we go into the 11th 20-day process, which is number 6, which is Red Rhythmic Dragon. So we're coming into balance of what the Great Mother is bringing us. We're coming into alignment. We're letting go of our Neptunian delusions and illusions. And we're starting to become, hopefully, clear and free. And so the whole of this 20-day cycle coming up on Saturday, the 3rd of July, is going to be about release. It's going to be about what is seeking to be cleared, cognitive dissonance. So again, realizing that this cycle began on the 15th of December and Neptune's going retrograde. Are you actually living the learning of your spiritual vision? Are you taking those steps? Are you being the fruit of your own labours? Are you committing to this new program? So just to tell you about the astrology. So on Thursday, we have got Mars in Leo, which is opposing Saturn in Aquarius at 12 degrees. On Friday, we've got Mars in Leo trine Chiron at 12 degrees. And on Saturday, we have got this energy is all building into a square. So we've got Mars in Leo squaring Uranus at 13 degrees Taurus. So what does that mean? So Mars in Leo is our warrior energy. Mars is the warrior, the masculine. Leo can be the ego, so it can be childhood tantrums. Depends on where each one of us is in a maturation process around our emotional issues, for example. So being opposing, we've got Mars in Leo opposing Saturn in Aquarius at 12. And so 12 degrees. Again, you can look at this as the 12th day, the crystal complexity day, and how we get clear. So what's your ego showing you? What's your passion that's coming up about new structures coming in for this age of Aquarius? Being emotionally free because of healing, being solution focused. And are we going to be staying forever in this twilight zone of needing a shot in the arm to go anywhere or do anything because of people's fear, for example? It's a good question, isn't it? Friday, Mars in Leo with Chiron in Aries at 12 degrees. So again, it's these two fire energies. Chiron in Aries is, who am I? How did I come to be me? How did I create this personality construct? What's my hero, heroine story? What's my narrative? How am I learning about how that's been defined and how am I going to change it now? And then building up to the apex, where Mars, the warrior, is squaring Uranus in Taurus at 13 degrees. And this is really powerful energy. So we had the Saturn square, now we've got the Mars square. Now it's bringing in this heart energy. What do we value? What do we love? What's coming to light around this bullshit story that's going on planet Earth that doesn't make any logical sense? Let's go for the logic rather than the emotional drama that's going on and the fear that's going on. Let's just do a little bit of detective work on the evidence and the fruit of the labours. So seeing what is actually going on here, really, literally. Seems to be different rules for different people. Seems to be different structures for different nationalities. None of which lines up with a narrative that's being told, just doesn't have any practical application or any foundation in integrity. So this is a Mars T-square, so there can be quite an aggressive energy going on. And of course, on Saturday, that's sort of the pinnacle, so that's going to start a new 20-day cycle. Then on Sunday, we've got a very important day in the US, which is Independence Day, and of course links to the UK as well. So again, as I said on earlier videos, we've got the UK is Capricorn and the US is Cancer. And so again, we're going to be revisiting this pattern back in the Civil War time. Is going to be coming up for their Pluto return next year. What is going to come up on that day? Who knows? On that Mars square. And then on Sunday, we have got the Sun in Cancer squaring Chiron at 12 degrees. So again, the Sun in Cancer, our feelings, our goddess, our emotional nature, really, around the home, because again, in the traditional natural zodiac, Cancer is in the 4th house. So what went on in the home, what defined whether that was pleasurable, whether that felt comfortable, comforting, whether we felt safe. And just notice how those patterns are still running for you now and what is seeking healing. That's the most important thing, isn't it? By Monday, we've got Blue Galactic Night, so we've got the integration of the previous 13-day wave spell. So by Monday, there should be some clarity and the clouds should be starting to shift. We've got the Sun conjoining the Sirius star. So again, this is also White Dog. This is the Nile energy. This is an amazing time of year of fertility and light. So really beautiful energy there. And noticing where we're still sort of resonating with the old fear, fight or flight story, or freeze even, or trying to appease our captors as well. So again, if you look up Stockholm Syndrome, for example, people who are being held captive, hostage, often develop survival behaviours, and it's just becoming aware of that. Look at how many people may have adapted very unhealthy behaviours right now in order to cope with everything that's happening on the planet, rather than face the truth of what is really happening. And how many times have we done that over our lifetime, where we've just gone into an automatic survival mode? That's really important to notice and become aware of. So by Tuesday, we should be in a different space. We're on Yellow Solar Seed Day. That's the gateway day. And again, the date for that is the 7th to the 19th of May. Go back to then, that was so powerful. We had the new moon in Taurus, that was the Wesak moon, the Buddha moon, beautiful energy. What was going on for you back then? Maybe you set an intention, very powerful manifesting moon. Revisit that. See how your star seed is starting to emerge. Wednesday, we have Red Planetary Serpent. Takes us back to the 29th of March and the 10th of April. 10 portal days of Akashic record. So what's happening with your relationship now? Thursday, the 8th of July, we have White Spectral World Bridger. What's seeking to go? 18th of Feb to the 2nd of March. Friday, the 9th of July, shaping our destiny. And on that Friday, I have a New Moon Circle of Light for women at 7 p.m. on Zoom if you'd like to join. So again, we're going to really focus on this lovely new moon energy and setting intentions, of course. The actual new moon is happening on Saturday, the 10th of July, yellow cosmic star. And so I've listed the Saturn square Uranus dates there, February the 17th and June 14th. So again, using a formula that I discovered reading Barbara Hand Clow, Liquid Light of Sex, great book, came into my awareness. It was actually given to me by Blue Cosmic Hand at the time of my Uranus opposition. Didn't have a clue what any of that meant, but when I started reading the book, it started to make sense. And so where Saturn is in your chart is really key. Where Uranus is in your chart is where light is coming in. And Chiron in your chart is the rainbow bridge. So this is the crystal structure of complex stability. On the planets, we have Saturn in Aquarius, Chiron in Aries, and Uranus in Taurus. And so we're looking to create this new age in Aquarius. We're using the bridge of redefining our story, rewriting the narrative. Who am I? Understanding how that was created for us. And what's coming to light is how are we embodying this energy on the earth? How are we moving beyond things that don't have integrity? How are we being practical and grounded and taking those small steps towards this new space? So the key is focus on your childhood and your fourth house and start to become a real expert on it. Other things to note, we've got Black Moon Lilith is moving 1 degree to 28 degrees. And so that's number 10. So that's a manifestation. So again, tune into your fears around, for example, what might happen if I'm going to be honest right now? What would happen? Does this mean it's going to be difficult for me? Does this mean I can't live my dream? Can I possibly do that? Can I be really, really honest? Things like that. So notice where maybe you're making a compromise in some way, you're not being true to yourself, and you have a whole story running around this. Pluto retrograde is at 25 degrees in Capricorn on Tuesday. So number 7, the mystic shaping our destiny. And so that's significant as well. I'm just going to read that actually. I just feel to read that. What is 25 degrees? Because this sort of the 25th of December is what comes up for me here. Okay, so a woman wearing a mask made out of butterfly wings, wrapped about in customary trappings, made to look and act the part superbly, programmed to do everything on cue, taking yourself in hand and subordinating all other factors to ambition, power, and worldly position in a premeditated, systematic, super orderly fashion, fitting the role. So good at this, you fool yourself. The perfect wraparound setup of simply turning yourself into what everybody needs to see. But because there is so much manipulation and control in it, this can become highly corrupted. It all depends on the motivation. At best, you will become a viable role model for a given set of characteristics of an advanced kind to be embodied perfectly. But at worst, you will deceive and beguile and maneuver so smoothly that nobody will know what you serve, who your master is, and where all this comes from after all. Wow. Isn't that just where it's at right now? Do we be our soul, or do we play a role that isn't worthy of us now? It's time to embody that goddess energy. It's time to take action to create this new world, to birth the new earth. That's what this 52-day cycle is all about. So let's see what we are as a manifestation of that warrior of light. Let's see how much integrity we have, and let's see where we're getting really good on our boundaries, where we're disciplined about not taking any half measures, not compromising ourselves, and being wise as much as we possibly can. So it's going to be an exciting 13-day process, and strategies this week focus on Thursday, where you're going to be, what you're going to do, and ideally, before we get to Thursday, recognize the triggers that have been coming up for you. If you have access to your own personal code for this 13-day process, then really focus on what themes were happening for you around this time. Go as deep as you can on that, and then you'll have a heads up on what themes are going to be replaying for you in whatever way. Notice how emotionally free you are. Notice where you're not, and notice what coping mechanisms you use when you go out of your center, and record this, because this is all great information. We are here because we chose to be here at this time. So, as challenging as it is, the masks are coming off. The truth is coming out about how human beings treat each other. And that's the source of our greatest fears. How some human beings have no empathy, they have no mercy, they don't care about anything else apart from their own personal needs. And they are in a very emotionally stunted place. They're frozen back in time in a trauma of their own and all their ancestors. And having such a deeply dark place of being, it's very, very difficult for them to have any light or to learn new behaviours. One of the biggest pitfalls for empaths and for caring, emotional people is to fall into the trap of believing that there is hope about changing these people. And that's coming from your own beautiful space. It isn't their mirror. and it's always a repeating pattern from our past. These bloodlines are ancient. These patterns too are very deeply embedded in our psyche and our consciousness. So catch yourself as soon as you start focusing on the other, because this is an ego avoidance of focusing on yourself. That has to be the focus for us all now. Focus on yourself first. And no matter how much resistance you feel about feeling your feelings, see if you can start to allow yourself to feel everything. This will make a huge reset to your emotional integrity and center. This is essential for the alchemist, being able to feel comfortable with the uncomfortable. That's the journey we're on. Lots of love to you. If you'd like to know more about any of the groups that I do, or you want to know more about your personal code, then please contact me on the consultation form below the video. Hope you have an amazing 13 days of being the warrior of light. Lots of love. Go Goddess.